Hey, good evening, everybody. Texas Redleg here. Hopefully, you are having a good start to your week despite the non-stop, visual with regard to this Afghanistan debacle and every other damn disaster that seems to be coming out of D.C. Poor decision making and judgment nowadays. But I wanted to do a spin-off video of my video yesterday or a day or two ago, talking about dangerous times. This is going to be dangerous times part 2. And I wanted to talk about self-defense and the use of deadly force. There's a lot more to this stuff than just carrying a weapon. One, you need to be proficient at the use of that weapon. You need to be willing to implement the use of that weapon for self-defense. And you also need to know your rights. So, first point I'm going to make with this video is that jurisdictions matter. So, as many of you know, there are different jurisdictions, some even within states and different counties and cities, depending on how their politics are and how their DA runs the show. Jurisdictions matter because some jurisdictions frown upon the use of firearms for self-defense. In a place like Chicago, only, the criminals are allowed to have firearms. And so there's other cities and jurisdictions in the United States that feel the same way. For example, I live in North Texas, and if I had to defend myself with deadly force, let's say in Austin, which is a very liberal jurisdiction, as most of you probably know or should know, I would feel a lot different about my defense if I were indicted for that versus where I currently live, which is in another county in the North Texas region. Same would go for Dallas County. If I had to defend myself with the use of deadly force in Dallas County, I would be extremely worried that my rights would probably be trampled on by the powers that be in that county from a prosecutorial standpoint. So jurisdictions do matter. And, there's an old saying that it's better to be judged by 12 than carried by 6. And there's going to be some instances, and there already has been actually, where certain jurisdictions are trying to make examples out of those that would defend themselves with the use of deadly force, towards a perpetrator. It just matters. Jurisdictions do matter. Where you have an incident matters. Therefore, I think you really need to be smart about number one, where you travel. Number two, where you spend time. Number three, know the area you're going, and if it is not favorable to the 2A or the rights of people to keep and bear arms and the use of deadly force and self-defense, then you might want to reconsider going there if they have a history of trouble. And a spinoff of that is I would get myself some type of insurance, and there's all kinds of them out there. I think it's the United States Concealed Carry Association, and there's one in Texas that I have. It's Texas Law Shield, and it's really all the same thing. And it gives you it's like I think mine is like $9 or $10 a month, and it covers all legal defense charges from having to implement a firearm in the preservation of your defense, or use of deadly force. And then I think it also covers up to like 25,000 in bail or something like that. But I think it's wise for you to look into some type of insurance with regard to legal defense and bail, like this one particular one does. And basically all you do is call a number, and it's a 24-hour thing. There's an attorney always on call, and it also goes between states too. But you need to look and read the fine print if you get something like that, so you are aware of what they cover and what they don't cover. So jurisdictions matter: state, county, city. Be aware of that. Know your rights to self-defense, and know the laws with regard to the use of deadly force. Those that have been in law enforcement or the security field that carry weapons, that's kind of pounded into their heads. When can you do certain things, and there's another area of the training that you go through, the use of force continuum, I think is what it's called. But it's, this leads to this, leads to this, leads to that. So, of course, you're always better to try to avoid, deadly force. But, if you have no choice and there's a threat, your right to stop the threat should be, legal wherever you're from. But again, remember, you just want to stop the threat. You don't mean to kill anybody. You don't mean to maim anybody. You just want to stop the threat. Okay, that's what you say if you ever in a situation where you have to implement, a firearm in the terms of self-defense or the use of deadly force. You only wanted to stop the threat that existed. That's it. And you keep repeating it over and over. I'm not an attorney. I'm not giving you legal advice. But what I'm telling you from a former law enforcement perspective, nothing good can come from you talking to the police without an attorney present, even if you did nothing wrong. Be patient. Don't be pressured. Get an attorney, and then talk to the police with your attorney. That's just how you need to do it. And I used to be in law enforcement, and I'm telling you that from that side too. So, know your jurisdiction. Are they favorable to the 2A or self-defense and the use of deadly force for people that are legally, able to carry firearms? And know your, right to self-defense and the use of force, deadly force laws where you're from. And then number 3, be legal or operate within the law. Texas, for example, September 1st, I think we're going to be a constitutional carry state, which means as long as you are not a felon and you can legally own and possess a firearm, you can carry that firearm on your person, concealed or open. So we've had open carry for a couple years, but you still had to have a license to carry concealed in order to legally open carry. But now constitutional carry has passed and will be effective September 1. I think it's still probably a good idea to keep your license to carry license permit, if you will, in Texas, because we have reciprocal agreements with other states that may not have open carry. And I just think it's probably a good idea to have that, that physical card with you in order to prove that you have that licensure, especially with, again, reciprocity other states going forward. I would think it's just a good thing for you to have. Do what you want to do, but I'm going to try to keep mine valid. I mean, it's not any more training or anything in Texas. It's just I think it's a renewal fee of $40 or something like that. But it's worth it to me. It's fine. I'll keep it active. Not a big deal to me. So, know your jurisdiction, know your rights to self-defense, know the use of deadly force laws from wherever you reside or where you're going. Be legal, operate within the law. Okay, don't carry illegal firearms. and carry your firearm. Make it a habit. I mean, honestly, if you have the ability to carry a firearm safely and legally, why in the hell would you not carry it, regardless of where you're at? I mean, it's just getting crazy, you know. You don't get to pick the time and place of your incident. It's going to pick you. Okay? So, you thinking, I'm just going to run over here to the Dollar Tree real quick, there's nothing that's going to happen. That's usually when something's going to happen. Sort of like there's a statistic that most car wrecks happen within 5 or 10 minutes from your house. You know, I mean, it's probably something like that, honestly. But you need to make it a habit, because you're going to look up one day and there's going to be something going down where you're in a bad situation and you need to defend yourself, and you're not going to have it with you, and you're probably just going to end up dead. Okay? So, you know, be smart about how you carry it. I personally don't open carry. I don't want people to know. You know, if I'm out hunting or something like that, or, you know, something, you know, where I'm working or something, I might carry open, you know, out, you know, in the woods, obviously, or something like that. But if I'm just running around town, I'm not going to have I'm not going to be open carrying a firearm on my side or whatever. I'm going to have it concealed and you're not even going to know. But I would really get used to doing that, because, you know, again, you're going to need it and not have it. And that's a bad deal. Another thing, practice. Go to the range. You know, get proficient. You know, if you don't have strong hands, you know, you need to, you know, load and unload that magazine. You know, you need to rack the slide back. You need to keep that firearm lubricated. You need to have that firearm, you know, ready to be operational at all times. And make sure you're getting a firearm that fits your hand, you know. Just don't go buy a firearm off the shelf. There's a lot of ranges that will rent you guns so you can touch and feel and practice and know what fits your hand best. You know, because trigger pull has a lot to do with being accurate and all that. So anyway, I just wanted to throw this video out there for everybody. I hope that everybody considers, you know, the safe, effective use and carrying of a firearm going forward. I mean, it's just too dangerous, and it's just going to get worse. And again, carry extra ammunition if you can as well. But have the option. And, you know, you never know. You could be at an intersection when a protest breaks out. You could be, you know, you could be going to the mall. You could be going grocery shopping. You could be at church. You could be anywhere, and something goes down. So nobody wishes, you know, hopefully nobody's wishing they could pull the trigger in an incident, but, you know, nobody wishes that they had one until they wish they had one, you know, a firearm. So hopefully you guys enjoy this video. You know, it's, you know, coming from experience and a lot of, you know, knowledge on the subject. I don't know it all, but I would really encourage you to rethink the safe carrying of a firearm if you haven't already, and make that a daily habit for yourself. So anyway, keep prepping, stack it deep. Long live the Republic.